primetime newscast on Equinox television. Motorbikes are being confiscated in the Southwest Regional headquarters of Boya, and roadside business is simply closed down. The decision by the mayor of the said municipality is to maintain order as Cameroon is bracing to celebrate the 46th edition of the National Unity Day. As far as the May 20th celebration for the year 2018 is concerned, some Cameroonians here in the economic capital, Douala, would be telling us how the Biya regime has succeeded in tearing Cameroonians apart. Those are headlines. We shall be right back with the details. Stay with us. Good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. We thank you for joining us in this edition of the Primetime Newscast on Equinox Television. Disorder is not going to be tolerated in Boya as the town is preparing for the National Unity Day, says the mayor of the Boya municipality. Mayor Ekema Patrick Esunge and council agents impounded motorbikes and goods that were simply displayed by the roadside. Derek Jato witnessed the event and tells us more in the following report.
Preparation ahead of the 2018 23rd May celebration in Boya sent petty traders along the pavement of the main street parking. It is an afternoon in Boya, the southwest regional capital, and Boya Council Municipal Police is on what they have termed a clean-up mission of the town. And Mayor Ekema Patrick Esunga himself is heading the team. From mile 17 Motor Park to downtown Moleko, the Boya Council descended like a disaster, sweeping everything on its way. Victims or sympathizers watch helplessly as Mayor Ekema Patrick Esunge demonstrated both in action and words that Boya municipality must be clean before May 20.
The most precious and important day we have in our country is the National Day, which is 20th of May. We cannot compromise that. We must make sure that that day is celebrated in pomp and pageantry and in a dignified manner, such that the city of Boya and the streets of Boya are kept clean and orderly before the event. We are not willing to tolerate any disorder coming from whosoever.
And explaining why any motorbike they met was also seized.
Of course, their bikes have been impounded, and in most of the cases, most of them have even removed their jackets. If you remove the jackets, which the council took the paint and resources to produce, to identify and assure security of its people, then you are geared towards something else, because most of our neighboring cities, the population has fled into our city to orchestrate trouble, which we don't want and we are not ready to tolerate. And so our denizens are very organized people. They maintain a decent decorum, and anybody who violates such is what the council is correcting. We are not fighting against our people. There's no king who fights against his people, or else you don't rule a kingdom.
Today in Boya, movement is strictly prohibited for both commercial motorbikes and persons as from 7 p.m. per the recent communique signed by Mr. Kwamu Kampol, the divisional officer for Boya subdivision. A security measure, the government say, to better contain the rumor of the security threat that is flying in the subdivision.
And the call for President Paul Biya to step down has continued to persist from Cameroonians disappointed by his regime. Some told Equinox Television that the Biya regime has failed to or killed the country's unity, tearing her people apart, angered about bad governance and the socio-political crisis. They are demanding for immediate solutions to be provided by the government of Cameroon, one of them being the resignation of the President of the Republic. Details with Babla Jonathan.
Days to the celebration of Cameroon's unity, May 20, views on the existence of unity in President Paul Biya's country are to a greater extent convergent and to a lesser extent divergent. Some say unity had left the country long time ago, while others still believe in the unitary state of Cameroon.
There's no unity in the country, killing our brothers, raping our girls all around, burning all the houses in the villages. There's nothing like unity.
First, Cameroon was a united country, but now we are not united. Because I cannot say that we are united when my mother is sleeping in the forest and I'm here. I say that we are united. We are not united. For example, 20 May is coming. We have to go and celebrate on the fee. But I cannot go and be marching when my mother is not around, or my elder brothers that are sleeping in the bush. That I'm going to march. We are not united.
Of my opinion, I know that Cameroon is united. But people have their differences.
I think we are not really united because as Cameroonians, we have problems here in Cameroon. Like for example, in the north and southwest, people are fighting, soldiers are killing civilians, civilians are fighting against soldiers, so I don't think we are really united.
Many have lost confidence in the elite.
The elite of the southwest and northwest, they are not giving confidence to their people because they don't care, they don't know what their people are suffering. People are sleeping in bushes. People are refugees in the neighboring country like Nigeria and the other places. That is not unity.
Some are angry over the fact that some government officials have been in office for decades while young people are not given the chance to handle some top positions of responsibility.
Since I've grown up, I'm about 30-something years old now. Knowing only Pobia, I've never known any other president. In the assembly, we know only Kavaye Jibri, that is Speaker of National Assembly. Since I went to primary school, I've never known any other Speaker of National Assembly rather than Kavaye Jibri. What does that mean? It's like we are making dictatorship. Huh? We can't give chance to the youth. We have to give chance to the youth.
With regards to this, and just like national unity, this inhabitant of Bonaberi in the Douala subdivision holds the opinion that democracy does not exist in Cameroon.
Every year, more than 33 years to 35 years, Pobia also have LDPC, CPDM every year. It's like we are just making the voting for formality. There's no election in Cameroon. There's no democracy. If you want to look, you go to Ghana, you go to Nigeria, you see an example in democracy.
The solution to some is that the head of state should step down, and to others, government should restore order and peace in the country.
I must insist that our president should step down right now. Paul Biya should step down in this country, as Kofi Annan has said. It's an era in Africa and he has spoken. So Paul Biya should step down now. If he doesn't step down, nothing can work in this country. And it will never work till he step down.
Let the government try to see the problem. Keep everything in order. They will come, we should be united. That's why we want one peace in the country.
When they fix them, maybe all country go they fine. All man go laugh now.
In the meantime, the situation in the two Anglophone regions has continued deepening and adversely impacting the country's unitary state.
And throughout this week, we have been bringing to you testimonies of internally displaced persons or English-speaking Cameroonians who escaped military violence and the burning of their homes in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. Persons living with disabilities in some parts of conflict or in some conflict-hit localities have also been greatly affected as a result of the current socio-political crisis rocking the northwest and the southwest regions. One of them told Equinox TV's Mbu Stella in Bamenda that some have died while others are simply having their already complicated situation worsened. Let's now listen to one of the persons living with disabilities. He was speaking in Bamenda to Mbu Stella. Take a listen.
As persons with disabilities in Cameroon, we live on hand-to-mouth activities. And these activities that we do on a daily basis. Because of the crisis, we've not been able to function the way we are supposed to function. Therefore, most of the things we are supposed to do have been grounded. And more to that, I'm gripped with fear because persons with disabilities have been killed. And it makes me fear if I may be the next target. So it has actually been an issue that has pulled us so backward, and we can only pray that if a solution is sought now, it can be for the good of us. I don't know whether people talk about dialogue, they understand what the word dialogue is. I pray that the intellectuals should actually educate the leaders on what the word dialogue is, so that we can come to one table and discuss the way forward for this crisis. Be a peacemaker yourself by upholding the virtues of non-violent action that can lead to the solution of these problems.
And it has been a tense atmosphere in Bafut today following a fierce confrontation between security forces and some yet to be identified individuals. We have not been able to independently verify the number of casualties recorded so far, but some persons are said to be injured. Motorbikes were equally set ablaze. Bafut is now militarized, with the people living in fear and uncertainty that was since the early hours of this Friday. We shall be keeping you updated as soon as we are informed. Now, close to 2 weeks now, the population of Mbanga, we are in the Mungu division of the littoral region of Cameroon, have been in the dark. Businesses have been paralyzed and students unable to carry on with their studies normally as a result of absence of electricity. Innocent as it tells us more in this report.
A visible handwork of a tornado that visited Mbanga in the Mungu division of the littoral region recently. At press time, the situation is still unchanged. Electric poles and cables brought down by the strong winds are yet to be re-erected. Even a transformer blown down. Inhabitants are compelled to cross over them on foot to continue their journey. It is over a week now that the population of Mbanga live in the dark.
And the whole Mbanga day in darkness, from here right up to Tangi, right down to somewhere Mudoka, right down to Payage. We don't have light. The whole Mbanga is down.
They don't pull them. They don't fall more than 6. Don't even say they can't fix them. But we don't wait so that 1 week we never get light.
Enormous ramifications are incurred by business persons who have to conserve food and other items in refrigerators.
Right now, so for getting to these 2 weeks now, they be paralyzed.
Those who cannot afford a generator have to wait till when officials in charge with the electricity production and distribution in Cameroon get up from slumber.
Running a generator is another difficult expenditure. So when we have the means, we run our generator before the administration can function. But the impact on the students remains serious, because at home they cannot study in the evening, they cannot study in the early hours of the morning, teachers cannot mark their scripts. So the impact is really serious.
A student preparing for his official examination says he has been unable to study few days to the start of exams. Away from the electricity issue, the storm also plunged many inhabitants into difficulties as their roof sheets were catapulted to unknown destinations. Their houses are now exposed to unfavorable climatic conditions.
They don't get a roof there for their houses. They're trying to maintain them back.
Even roof sheets of classrooms, like the case with Government Bilingual High School in Jombe, have been carried away by the wind and yet to be found.
Go through for different places, don't destroy the thing there.
Farms and plantations like this one was visited by the tornado, pushing down most of the pawpaw trees. Some heavy trees could as well not withstand the wrath of the storm, as some bowed to it. Meantime, affected residents are struggling to restructure their houses while intensifying prayers. Officials of the Electricity Production and Distribution Company get up from slumber as soon as possible to relieve them from darkness and jeopardy.
We now talk about this couple that died under unclear circumstances in Garwa, North region of Cameroon. An incident which occurred a few days ago. A married couple that was found dead with their 3-month-old baby alive by their side in their house in Doualari locality in Garwa. Eyewitnesses have recounted that they were alarmed by some aggressive noise coming from the home of the deceased couple. When they got there, the doors were locked, but they forcefully made their way into the house and discovered the 2 lifeless bodies on the floor, while their baby was still on the mother's back, alive. Fortunately, the deceased woman, Kabu Clementine, 26-year-old, was stabbed, according to reports, and the husband, Jele Timothy, 36-year-old, was equally slaughtered. Elements of the security forces arrived at the scene to take stock of the situation. Till now, no one is unable to determine how they died. The 3-month-old baby is now with the deceased couple's family members. That was a sad incident which occurred in Garwa a few days ago. Now, authorities of the Kongsamba Central Prison, who are still in the Mongo division of Cameroon, have urged inmates to be optimistic of their freedom. It was during the celebration of the cultural jamboree of the detention facility in Onsen, as it tells us more in this report.
They are inmates of the Kongsamba Central Prison in the Mongo division of the Littoral region. They chant songs of welcome to guest artists and visitors who have joined them to celebrate the cultural jamboree of the Kongsamba Central Prison. A day to awaken joy from within them and make them know they are not outcasts.
Le détenu de Kongsamba ne vous chante pas la misère. Le détenu de Kongsamba vous chante la reconversion. J'ai pas prévu ça.
Being an initiative of the prison officials, the inmates brought out the talents in them as they entertained visitors with diverse activities like comedy, choral music, dancing, and most importantly, traditional dances. Guest artists as well animated the event with vivacious songs and heart-touching ones. Inmates have been encouraged to be optimistic of freedom. Minutes later, one of the detainees is caught up to be informed he gains freedom thanks to a person of goodwill. Prison officials say it is a pleasure to see a smile all over faces of the inmates, a sign they are letting go of acts of moral decadence.
And we now talk about another incident that brought joy to inhabitants of Limbe. This time around, a dilapidated structure at the regional hospital in Limbe that has so far been given a new facelift. The building, constructed during the colonial era, has not been renovated for over 5 decades now. The initiative was that of Honorable Etombi Ikome-Gladys of the CPDM political party, who equally awarded some 100 pupils and students who distinguished themselves in the academic milieu. Let's have the details with Davis Imaibu.
It was all joy and happiness expressed to its fullest from the women folk, pupils and students in a dual ceremony that saw the handing over of a 70-year-old refurbished building to cater for pregnant women at the regional hospital in Limbe, and the award of excellence to pupils and students in the entire Limbe municipality by the Honorable Member of Parliament for Fako East constituency, Honorable Etombi Ikome-Gladys.
I want to say that anyone who thinks that this was motivated by political inclinations, I want to say that, sorry, then you don't know me. In our country today, people want to dwell on bad things. But I believe that one little thing which is good should be said, so that people can also know that even in the midst of whatever we are going through, there are good things which are happening in our communities, and we should appreciate them.
To Dr. Dennis Same, director of the regional hospital, nutritional debt is so high. Thus, the new structure means close monitoring and observation of pregnant women conveniently.
seen the statistics of neonatal deaths. They are so high. This clinic is meant for people who are fine, who come, and then we pick complications.
The pupils and students on their part expressed satisfaction on the Excellent Award, saying it is a booster to their studies.
These talents are things that even some of our parents didn't even notice. But it's really encouraging that she, a mother above all mothers, has noticed us and is blessing us in this way, so we are very grateful.
The SDO for Fako expressed satisfaction, calling on the hospital administration to jealously use the building, and equally asked the pupils and students not to relent their effort in education, as it is the only thing that guarantees their future in today's world.
And in news out of Cameroon, the Democratic Republic of Congo has confirmed the first death in a new outbreak of Ebola virus in the Central African country. The health minister in DR Congo indicated that 11 people have so far been affected, including 3 medical staff. Details with Oro News.
The Democratic Republic of Congo has confirmed the first death in a new outbreak of the Ebola virus in the Central African country. Health Minister Oli Lunga said that a further 11 people had been infected, including 3 medical staff. The minister deployed a first team of 12 experts who arrived in Bandaka on Wednesday, the 9th of May, to start the first investigations and to organize the response in the field. This is the 9th time the disease has been recorded in the country, since it made its first known appearance in the 1970s, near the country's Ebola River.
And that brings us to the end of this first segment of the news. Up next is Talking Point. We shall be right back. A primary school pupil, Mr. Asimu Adamu, is our guest for tonight. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you so much for your time.
Good evening, madam. You're welcome.
Thank you so much. In less than 5 days, pupils are going to be sitting in for the common entrance examinations across the national territory. We are focused tonight on some of the pupils that actually left the 2 conflict-hit regions of Cameroon, the northwest and the southwest regions of the country, to the economic capital, Douala. When you received some of these pupils, how was your evaluation as a teacher?
Yes, madam, you are right. In about precisely on the 15th of May, that is on Tuesday next week, we are going to sit for the common entrance. Yeah, and before then, at the beginning of this academic year, or somehow, right when we started right into the academic year, many children came in from the southwest and the northwest region. These are people who are escaping the problems we know that we have in those zones. So what we did was, we had to evaluate those children. And especially in my school, only children who were promoted, for example, from class 5 to 6 went to class 6. Those who did not have regular classes, that is, they didn't have effective classes last academic year, were not promoted. Because we tried to evaluate some of them in class 5 and discovered they could not go to class 6 and they had to repeat the class 5.
So the child that came maybe the child was in class 4 during the 2016-2017 academic year was probably maintained in class 4 because you discovered some lapses.
Of course.
The lapses were at what level?
Yeah, some of them started the academic year, the classes were not effective. And so they couldn't cope in class 5 with their classmates here. So you had to repeat class 4. That's what we did. So each child was promoted to the class that who was supposed to be promoted the 2016-17 academic year, that he did not score in the southwest or in the northwest. That's what we did. And the unfortunate thing is that with the influx of those children, the enrollment is very, very high.
Yes. What's the rate of influx?
Yes,
especially in your academic institution.
Yes, in some of the classes we have children up to 120 in class. For example, last year the average was about 80, but now we're up to about 120, which is not easy to deal with children who have stayed in the house for about 2 years, getting to, like in class 5, a child getting to 14, 15, have to study with kids of 9 and 10 years, so it's not really easy, madam.
So has your school been adapting?
Yeah, we have been doing our best to help the children too, by providing them with extra classes, that is afternoon classes, and especially those who are going to sit for the exams, like in class 6, we have morning classes, then we have afternoon classes and Saturday classes under the supervision of the head teachers. These classes are very effective.
And are they catching up?
Yes.
Are you positive that especially those who are going to be sitting in for the common entrance examination, they are combat ready for the exams?
They are ready, madam. They are ready. We are not only preparing them to pass now, but to pass with good averages.
Yes.
Because we have been doing a marvelous job. Not only the class 6 teacher is involved, teachers from other classes too. They come in to help. You know, some teachers are good in mathematics, others in general paper, others in English language. So we assist the class 6 teacher under the supervision of the head teacher too, who has been leaving no stone unturned to make sure that the children pass their exams very well.
Globally, what is the atmosphere like in the school milieu as you are preparing for the common entrance examination?
Yeah, you know, most of the children here, they are not even aware, like those who are the majority are not aware of what is going on the other side, that is in the 2 English zones. So they are calm and everything is going on in a serene atmosphere. Except those who left their brothers and sisters somewhere in the southwest, some of the kids were complaining, oh, I'm not comfortable here, I'm staying with my brother or my father's friend and so on, and I'm not comfortable. They don't give me enough food, I don't have enough money. It's like the conditions at home are not favorable for some of those children who have left the English
because they are not actually living in their homes.
Yes.
Do you think it can actually affect their output
somehow,
in any way?
It must affect them a bit. But to an extent, we are struggling to help them too, as teachers too, and as parents too. So we advise them, we give them extra classes too, and then help them, and even invite their parents at times or their guardians.
Guardians, of course.
Yeah, of course, yes, to help them. We tell them about the children too. So they should give them a psychological stability.
Now globally, on the coverage of the school program,
yes, madam,
because it's been a problem year in, year out, how to cover the entire school program from the first, second, and third term, because many teachers are complaining that before the year actually ends, not up to 90% of the school program has actually been covered. What's the situation in your institution?
Yes, madam, you are right. When you look at the syllabus for the primary school, madam, it is really overloaded. You know, it is divided into 6 sequences. We used to have public holidays, but all those public holidays are not taken into consideration when they are drawing up the syllabus. At times, it's very difficult. But we are lucky at times that some of the topics come about twice. So if we treat it once, we are lucky. But in our school, for example, when, you know, at the end of each sequence, there is a form that we fill to rate of coverage. Most of our coverage is 100%, madam. Because we have a very serious head teacher who supervises the work seriously. So the program is covered.
It may be serious in your school, but a different
scenario
probably,
in other schools.
If you were to give some recommendations or proposals for some major adjustments to be made in the school program in Cameroon, what would be the suggestions?
Yeah, I think I happen to have worked when I was in the private sector. I taught children from the American school here. See, their program is very light, and then they do it very well. They exploit the program very well. So when a child does something, he knows it well. Ours is heavy, and we do it just superficially. So if I'm to give them advice, they should reduce the volume of the syllabus so that we can teach effectively.
Reduce the volume how? Do you mean by the children are overcharged?
Yeah, for example, like
a lot of subjects?
Yes. You can see like in mathematics, for example, they can give 1 week for you to teach addition, subtraction, multiplication, division of fractions in 1 week, which is almost impossible. If you have to teach addition and subtraction of fraction effectively, you need at least a week for that. Then you have multiplication and division. And you have worded problem of fractions, and all that is given in a single week.
What about the debate on the need for the number of subjects to be reduced? Because like what prevailed yesteryears,
yes, madam,
decades ago, we could just have just few subjects in the primary and maybe secondary schools. But it's a different atmosphere now in the primary school. You even see subjects like biology, you even see subjects that were not even existing before, subjects that are almost like biology.
Okay, philosophy.
Yes, like philosophy, which was not existing in the primary school level. Is that not another problem in the primary school?
Yeah, it's like our educators too. Probably after looking at our, like this moral education that they included too, probably they have realized we have a lot of problems, like this juvenile delinquency in our society. They are struggling to curb certain things. They include that subject, and this sexual education too that they brought in. I think there are some subjects that they brought in.
Those are positive innovations.
Positive innovations, madam, that I think. And for the subjects that have been existing before, I don't think there's a subject that we would like them to cancel or to remove from the program.
Now, since you are a teacher.
Yes, ma'am.
This time around, we are not going to be talking about the primary school level.
Okay.
Many are equally worried about the situation of the General Certificate of Education examination.
Yes, madam.
The GC, we saw how the percentage was really extremely poor during last session.
Yes, madam.
What is your view? What do you think about the 2018 session of the GCE?
Yes, madam. This is a very serious situation. You know, last year before they wrote the GCE, it was postponed. The deadline for the registration was postponed 4 times. This academic year, the deadline was the 29th of December 2017. The Minister of Secondary Education, on the 2nd of January, postponed it right to the 2nd of February as the deadline. From the statistics that we got, there's a school like a government high school Nguti. As of that deadline, only 35 children registered. And the complaint is that many students are not even attending regular classes. So it's like this year will be worse than last year, from the way I see things, madam.
But the figures are not published. Many people are not aware of what's happening.
Really, madam.
Because the focus now is on maybe the violence that is ongoing, but the academic milieu is gradually paralyzing day in, day out.
Yes, madam, that is exactly what is going on. So we expected, since the last year they wrote, even though it was timid last year, so we expected it to be better this year. But from the atmosphere, from the look of things, it's not going to be better. The way I see, even though I'm not pessimistic, but I don't think things will be good, madam.
Even in terms of the results?
The results too. Last year was terrible. If we have to maintain the standards of the GCE, somebody cannot go to school for 3 months and write the GCE and pass, madam. So that is it. That's our fear.
Reason why a good number of schools are now being inundated by students from the northwest and the southwest regions.
Here in the littoral region, that is why we have a lot of students from the southwest and the northwest regions. And I think it's unfortunate for those who don't have relatives or friends that can live with here. So it's really aching like me that I have my brothers and sisters in the village and are going to school today.
Possibly they might only have to return to school when things return to normal.
So we'll call for dialogue.
Thank you so much,
Yes,
Mr. Asimu Adamu, for joining us tonight on Talking Point. We hope to have you some other time.
It is no problem.
Thank you so much for your time. To our viewers, it was equally a pleasure having you with us in this edition of the Primetime Newscast on Equinox Television. Wishing you a blessed stay in the company of our programs until we meet again. Goodbye.